hills and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance to spit in his eye. Well, they gave me bars, but I can see between to a dusty yard and a long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I dry my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone. I'm sober as a judge.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Shortbangers. This is episode 78. Got John and Colin on. You all right, guys?
Yep.
Aye. Let's get 25 minutes on the clock and get a wee fucking question. First one comes from Andy tonight. He says, can a football club shag a poppy? And if you were a football club, would a poppy make you as horny as it seems to make the Rangers?
It's very relevant on the 11th, I guess.
Aye.
How do we approach this?
with sensitivity, John, as always. But you know, like, people will be listening to this on the 11th, so we'll be all right. It'll be the 12th by the time this goes out. Football clubs do go, or some football clubs go to fucking great extremes to show just how much they care about it.
I think they all do to some extent, because even a couple of weeks ago, I was watching, I can't remember who it was Leicester down south they were playing. It was about 2 weeks, it was nearly, it'd be 2 weeks on, 12 days ago. And they were doing the minute silence and I'd be like, oh, who died? Like, and it was the wreath thing, and I'm going, is it even fucking November yet? Like, but it was because they've not got another home game until after today, because international break and all that. And I thought, why are football clubs like the pillars of like morality in that?
It's a
I
fucking...
didn't understand that, because you're never done it at work. See, if you were on holiday this week, they wouldn't have made you do a minute silence last week. You know what I mean?
No.
It's just like, well, you're not in, eh? But like the football's known, so we can't do one. But they've got to do it. It's like a real. But I can't remember it always been like that. It feels like it's just kind of increased in intensity, if you like, over the last few years.
It's more that kind of gesture thing, isn't it? We observed this one. We were She and I were out and about. So I'm on holiday this week, but we were in the car and we were parked up, as it happened at that time anyway. So came back to the radio and they went silent. We stayed silent. I think it's important that you remember it and all that kind of thing. You know, like I've no problem. I agree with it. But I do think, but it's the same way with like head state in that die, or you know, like it's like football has to mark it, but nobody else does. No. It's somebody made the point. I can't remember where I read it, but you never get like the golfers going, just everybody stop there now. Didn't take a shot. Minute silence because fucking Thatcher's did. Do you know?
It's like footballers are the role models and nobody else is.
Aye.
Or it feels like that. It's always you've got to do something. There's a lot of virtue signalling and that goes on as well, eh? But on social media and all that, that boy, was it McLean? He gets hammered every year because you read his reasons for not wearing a poppy and you go, fucking fair play. You know what I mean? But he gets absolutely fucking caned for it every year. So I just want to look popular and jump on the bandwagon, I think.
Aye. I always think like the more extravagant, the less respectful it is almost the way. Like that bit about it shouldn't be a big show thing. It's like the point is about remembrance. It's not about making look at me remembering. It's not about you remembering. It's about the folk that are
remembering.
Aye. Yeah. All right, we'll move on because
serious point. John said, "Fuck all." He's obviously worried he's going to get in trouble.
That's it. We're not getting cancelled. Next one. This was the one that was sent in. I saw it on Viz. Just totally change of tact. Why don't you see paperweights anymore? Is paper heavier these days, or has the average wind speed dropped in the last 30 years? Paperweights used to be a thing, though, but you genuinely didn't see all that
office
much.
Now. It's a paperless office. That's been the paperless office since the 90s now. I started working in the paperless office in about 97, and it was called the paperless office. So surely by 24 years later, they've actually got rid of all paper.
Aye, clear desk policies and all
it's
that.
It's like the Data Protection Act and GDPR was the unintentional killer of the paperweight.
So imagine that you've got that fucking We've got to
They're
read,
also-
lads. We've got it. We make these paperweights. They'll read them forevermore because everybody needs to keep their paper in one place.
There's a
So
warehouse out there, like a Dell boy that's got just a warehouse full of paperweights thinking, yes, I'm going to make millions. And then the Data Protection Act 1988 came in.
could we
What
market
fuck?
them?
What
Market
fuck?
them as jumbo contact lenses.
They're also a godsend for folk in offices and councils and that, council offices that don't have a fucking clue how to answer your question. So they chuck GDPR or data protection at you for the
Aye.
reason that they can't
Aye.
Aye.
tell you any more information. And you go, go and talk me through that, mate. I don't
Aye.
understand what you mean.
You ever heard of anyone
Data
being
protection.
murdered or bludgeoned to death with a paperweight? Because like ashtrays were always popular for that kind of thing, eh? Like the big heavy.
I think in
glass
films it
ones, but
happened.
paperweights
Aye.
could probably do it.
I think in films.
I thought you were going to say with paper cuts there, like it would have been
It's
slashed
got to
to
be
death.
doable, eh?
It's well, that's it,
Death by
especially
a thousand
death by a
cuts.
thousand cuts. Aye. Nothing to do with paperweights though.
But-
Unless it's really sharp paperweight, of course. Right, Andy says, have you ever been as out of depth in a job as Ole is at United? If you have, described your experience. I reckon if you ask my gaffer the day.
You
Aye.
should feel out the depth. You should feel out the depth of your job. You should a wee bit, because otherwise you're in your comfort zone. Like so,
Aye.
you should always be thinking, "Fuck, how dare," so that you're constantly learning and improving. That's
That's
my opinion on it.
a fair point. I try to think if I had a job, but I've actually just gone, fucking this is like I will never get this. I don't think I've ever been at that point in my job. There's been times I've gone, fucking hell, what am I doing? But always thought that with a bit of time and getting to know it, it'd be all right.
Yeah. I had one job that I only lasted a handful of months. I didn't feel out my depth, but the manager made me feel out of my depth because like she was so controlling and talked herself up like as if like she knew that much. And I'm sure now looking back, I think it was what we're looking at, not quite 20 years ago, but a good 15 plus years ago. Now I would go, you've not got a fucking clue, and you would just
Aye.
ask a few questions to actually scratch the surface and go, you don't know you've not got a clue. But I didn't then, and I just thought, fuck this, I'm out. I took a pay cut to go and everything like back then because I was like, I can't work here anymore. This woman is a fucking absolute bomb scare. And I suppose was it, I don't know if I felt out of my depth. I think I felt out of my depth even though I wasn't. You know what I mean? She made me feel out of my depth
Aye.
rather than actually being, because it was just basic stuff I was doing. It wasn't even anything difficult.
If I ever attempt any DIY stuff, I feel out of depth. Like anything. I think we've mentioned this before.
Yeah.
That's not an actual employed job,
Yeah,
but
I can't work out. Like, say, like, if you were to try and put like a skirting board in a corner, I can't work out the angles when you need to cut.
aye, we had
Can't get it. Just
we did the flooring here in the house. Actually, me and one of my mates did it. I say he did it. I was there.
just carried it. Yeah.
I kind of did the easy bits, and he was cutting stuff around the doors, and it was like right, the same thing, but how bits meet the beading along the bottom. Exactly what
Aye,
you
that's
say.
what I was thinking when I said
Aye.
skirting the beading felt like
And-
laminate or something, or wooden
and
flooring. Yeah.
You're thinking it makes no sense when you think about it, and then obviously it does. Do you know, like if you came what you're doing,
It makes sense to them, yeah, but that's why they're there.
Aye.
I'm a logical person, and it's not logical. So,
John, what about you?
Aye, pretty much. I had a similar situation to what Colin described, where I thought I was doing really, really shit at a job, and a lot of it, I think the reason that I felt that I was doing shit at what I was doing was because not feedback that I was getting. It was almost like a critique of the work, and I took it really personal because I do set myself pretty high standards. I was like, fuck it, like I keep getting these like minor things wrong, and I keep getting hauled up about it. And it was really weird. And I was going through a pretty difficult time at the time as well. And then subsequently, when I spoke to my manager about it, I was speaking to her, and she's like, "No, you're doing a good job." And I was like, "But I feel like I'm doing shit." So that was a couple of jobs ago, and to be honest, that's one of the reasons why I've taken a bit of a step back and I've gone to college now, because I realised that I didn't want to be doing that, and I didn't want to be doing the job that I'm doing now. So I needed a change. I needed to get out.
Decent.
And to be fair, like I do feel there is elements of feeling out of my depth now. So a couple of the bits in the college course, one of them is networking, the other one is programming. and networking and subnetting and fuck me, it's a lot of numbers and just trying to work all that shit out. Like I'm looking at just PowerPoints and numbers on a screen of points, but it's a challenge, and I've needed that challenge for a while now. And it's like I quite like the puzzle of putting this stuff together and trying to better myself through it.
All right, Danny said, this is the tamer of Danny's questions that
Oh, Danny,
we'll
Danny,
hear.
Danny.
She asks, if directors at Hollywood decided to make a film about the 2016 Cup final, what actors are you casting as which players?
This is the easy one for Danny.
Aye, this is the
Was
one
this
that
you mentioned. Right.
no, this one is the
That's
question.
the person you mentioned. Right.
Yeah.
See, for the goalkeeper for Conrad Logan, I thought of Paul Giamatti. I thought he'd make a good Conrad Logan, kind of in the similar mold to Sylvester Stallone in Escape to Victory. Just unexpected kind of character actor.
I was thinking Fat Bastard at Austin Powers.
So the boy that plays Thor in the Marvel films, he could be big Darren McGregor.
I thought you were going to say.
Is that the Australian boy? Oh, fuck me, what's his name?
He's got a brother.
Hemsworth.
Hemsworth, aye, that's the one. Yeah, Chris Hemsworth.
For McGregor, you'd have Jason Statham or Vin Diesel or somebody for Sir David Gray. Bruce Willis.
The boy that plays Captain America could be Paul Hanlon.
Aye.
Just because they've got that same
Liam Neeson, Irish. Just like
can we go Colin Farrell for Stokes just because they're both Irish riots?
Yeah, I know.
I reckon what was Stubbsy? You get Stubbsy in there. DiCaprio.
I think you need to go older than him. Maybe.
Just age him. You could just.
You could. To be fair, DiCaprio's not a young laddie anymore, is he? So.
Do you want like a character? You want someone that looks a bit like Stubbs or could sound a bit like Stubbs, character actor, or just like left field appointment?
Stephen Graham, then. Is that what you're saying?
Stephen Graham.
Stephen Graham. I was thinking like Ray Winston, but he's maybe a wee bit too East End of London to do a Stubbs.
Aye.
What about the physio?
Katy Perry.
Michelle Keegan.
Huh?
Megan Fox. Is it Megan Fox that does
it? Transformers.
The one that does the Jim Beam advert.
Oh, I think I've never seen that.
I've never seen.
No, Jim Beam one's Mila Kunis. It's Meg, the Family Guy.
Yeah.
I think Kitty Forrest is going to be quite happy with some of the suggestions that we've come up with here.
I think everybody is that we've mentioned, to be fair.
I'm sure Stubbsy would delight with DiCaprio.
Aye.
You seen the David Gray? Bruce Willis? Fucking right, take that.
He goes to celebrate the corner off, comes to the top, there's just a fucking manky, bloodstained vest there, and he just starts shooting folk.
Even Conrad Logan's fucking decent delight.
Right, Fast Pickers is what happens if you get scared half to death twice. So you'd be a quarter to death, wouldn't you?
I was thinking half a half, isn't it?
Aye.
Oh, or is it? Is it at the same time? Do you recover? How quickly do you recover for the first one as well? Like, what's your recovery rate? Because then it would be half off whatever you recover to.
Yeah. I don't know. Like a wee power bar, like in video games.
Yeah. Aye.
Or a heart rate monitor on like an Apple Watch.
Aye.
When was the last time that you really shot yourself? Like when you felt like you were scared half to death? You know, when you've kind of clutched your chest and in surprise, got the heart rate up a bit.
Heart rate was quite high when we were doing the live show, I think.
Aye. Just about 5 minutes before it started, just as we're going, oh fuck, this is happening. Well, I was talking about taking the dog a walk in the woods and conquer or something falling at the tree. It was like Blair Witch Project. I was like, I'm going to get fucking murdered here. Somebody's launching things at me.
How do you know that they weren't? Like, what if someone actually is watching you when you take the dog for a walk?
They might have been, but if they were shit. Here's the thing I was thinking about, right? So somebody had put, where was this joke that I read? Oh, it was on one. It was something Charlie said, or you sent it, Colin, about the hitchhiker getting picked up. Right, so a boy picks up a hitchhiker. The hitchhiker goes, "Oh, that's really kind of you, but how did you kind of wasn't a serial killer?" And the driver says, I thought the odds of there being 2 serial killers in the one car are fucking astronomical, right? Or
Yep.
or worse to that effect, right? Which is very clever. Then you think, like, serial killers and that. How come nobody just gives them a fucking kicking? Do you know, like, why are they so? Because you see something, see that Dennis Nielsen that was on. Like, I watched that ITV thing, and he was like a big fucking powerful guy. Like, thinking,
Yeah.
Aye, but
surely
he wasn't asking folk for a square go. He was fucking drugging and killing them.
I can, but then I mean, right. So he's maybe a bad example, right? But then you go to the films and that, and you've got these like really sinister folk, like Hannibal Lecter, for example. It's like Anthony Hopkins. Like, I reckon you'd have a chance of kicking the fuck out of Anthony Hopkins.
Aye, see, this is one of the details that the films leave out, though. In the books, Hannibal Lecter's quite a strong individual, despite his diminutive stature.
Aye. I just they're no fucking superpowers. Do you know what I mean? They're evil bastards, but they've not got superpowers. I just think how did always just maybe they pick their target as well, like for
Well, that's exactly what they're doing. It's the week. They pick on the week mainly. I mean,
Aye.
nobody goes around killing like.
the tough guys.
tough
It's
guys,
almost
does it?
like Apex Predator stuff, isn't it? Like they pick, like Colin says, they pick off the weak and the vulnerable, and they have. I think they've got like an inbuilt mechanism almost that they're able to spot the vulnerabilities that you and I don't.
All right. I forgot what the question was.
So
If you get
guys
scared
that
half to death twice.
shite themselves in the forest, like you're a target.
We shite bags, aye.
Well, I just
Oh,
looked.
fucking conkers
I
fell out
did-
the tree.
I
Oh.
didn't run away. I just went, oh fuck. And then I had a look around. I was like, go on, mate.
If a second conker had fell, what would have happened to Yank?
Or an arrow. Then I'd have been scared. Aye. A tomahawk coming flying past the fucking heads. Well, if a second conquer, unless it was a particularly vicious squirrel, I would have probably not been bothered. I would have been like, well, when I realised what it was, I wasn't bothered. It just it sounded like a stone rather than a conker at first. And I was like, fuck, that just missed me. Did somebody throw it?
It's not a bit late in the season for conkers as well. Like they've been on the ground for.
It might not be a
months.
conker. Do you know, I was thinking things that would sound
What
like
if
a
it was
stone.
it was maybe a poison dart or something, or like someone had one of those David and Goliath slingshots and were trying to take you out and they just misjudged their aim ever so slightly.
Do you know what I'm going to do, John? I'm going to go the same route tomorrow morning.
Aye.
And when I get it, I'll go to the roughly where the tree is and I'll see if I can find it and I'll taste it. Do you like at the start Raiders of the Lost Ark? Where the guy finds the dart and he goes, poison. Like that. That's what I'll do. I'll just test if it's poisoned or not. I'll report back.
There's no Shortbangers next week. You'll know why. Matty's deed. Here, should we talk about a contingency plan if one of us was to die?
It's only
Particularly
if he
you.
dies. He just goes and gets extra bodies.
Single point of failure. We need to address that.
Andy says, have you ever done anything as fast as Aldi cashiers scan your shopping?
They get recast to see what I just did.
Or watch it on Spotify.
Yeah, I watch it on Spotify.
Oh, right, aye.
But so apart from shagging, have you ever done anything as fast as? See the days. So I went into Aldi's Dalgety Bay. This is where we were sitting outside before we went. When the minute silence happened, the 2 minute silence. Go and get a coffee at Greg's. Jane likes the caramel lattes out there, so got coffee at Greg's, and I went in to get milk and bread for Aldi's, and somebody had gone for a break. You ever been in Aldi's when there's a queue building up? They open another till, they shout, and they make a big fucking fuss about it. Somebody had gone on a break, and this fucking ruined it for them. So they were all like proper panicking, and the woman who is serving at our checkout, she must have gone like treble fucking speed. Like, do you know, like the Superman films came in, it's like just like a blur with her hands. This is what it's like, is she's fucking scanning stuff, and the old couple couldn't fucking keep up. She's shouting at folk to start loading the till. She's like, I'm on a mission. So fucking wish like this. All couples card declined 3 times before they get it, and you could see the sweat coming off the Aldi cashier, like she was fucking freaking out of this. Eventually it went through, but as they hadn't even fucking finished the small talk to kind of like, oh, so that was embarrassing or whatever, and she's already fucking launching through the next person's fucking shopping. It
That's
was
an
unreal.
ideal fucking kind of shop to me. I've never been in Aldi. But that sounds ideal to me. I fucking hate pissing about at queues.
Aye. Right, Carl, you have to go. All right. Next time you're into mine, I'll take it out. Right, just buy a handful of stuff that you normally get. Right, this is the fucking best way
What
to
a
do
day.
it. Right, I can walk it. I'll show you a good
Sounds
time.
fucking brilliant. I can't wait.
I'll show you a good time.
Yeah, I need to get one of these caramel lattes that Greg's that Jane gets because they sound good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there was got to be caramel lattes, right? Carol was saying she was at the doctor's this morning and or the nurse or whatever, and before they done the blood test and that, the nurse was moaning about how much a latte cost at Starbucks, right? So it was just a standard sized cup, and she made her guess how much it is. How much like a standard? We've got a new drive-through.
Oh, so drive through to Starbucks would be.
So I don't know if there's a markup on it.
It'd be 470, something like that.
Aye, it was.
But
Aye, that was the.
aye.
Is that how much it is? Just got some drive-through.
Aye.
I'm going.
So then
I'm
you
going
go to
$3.95 in that.
go to McDonald's. It's about £1 for your
Uh-huh.
caramel, a toffee latte at McDonald's. Jane loves them as well.
Fuck all.
See, when you say it was a normal coffee, was it like was it a tall cup? Was
Well,
it
that's what I was saying.
or small?
She said no, it was just a standard size. So
Aye,
the normal
mediums are about that.
$4.70?
Yeah.
Aye, it's
It was a
ridiculous.
toffee one or something. And
Aye,
must have
see
been
they're
cream and
like
fucking fudging that dropped on it or
premium
something.
lattes, aye.
Aldi,
I'm not
best
saying
thing
I
at
agree with
Aldi's, right, is they're that fast, right? And the price difference, see, if you're used to shopping in Tesco, so I normally shop in Tesco, end of the month you go to Aldi, right? This is how it works.
When you
When
start
they
like
tell-
fold your checks in half.
Aye, when they tell you how much it is, you're like, fucking, they'll scan something, right? You're like trying to work out what they fucking missed.
You've
And
done that too fast.
they've scanned everything, and it's just fucking miles cheaper.
Aye.
It's superb. It's a stupid thing. Then you only go to Tesco because there's more choice. There's more of the stuff that you normally buy is in there. But see if you just go in for like fucking bread, milk, meat, the difference between the two of them is fucking night and day. You're talking like sometimes on an average size shop, maybe 20-25 quid different.
Really? Fucking hell.
It's superb. Big advocate for Aldi. Like fuck Tesco.
Sent him a downstairs bathroom fucking shopping in Aldi, yeah.
What's
That's
the
how
most
you can afford the downstairs bathroom.
Well, no, here's the next question. Right, for Alistair Taylor, that'll tell you. What's the most expensive thing you've stolen?
Oh.
Downstairs toilet.
So didn't really want to go into it in this a public forum. About my I don't steal generally, but there was a
Generally.
I'm just
You
thinking
steal specifically to
I
order.
suppose this counts as stealing. So a few years ago, I had a bed on order, like a. You probably remember some of this, Matthew, because we were away for my 40th up north, and I had a bed on order, right? I had 2 beds on order, actually, and they delivered. The delivery was a fucking mess, right? So they weren't turning up. They turned up. They delivered parts 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4 is 6, but no 5 and 6. And there was one piece missing in the end. And we were away up north. I was like, "We can deliver it to my mum and dad's." And so they went to my mum and dad's bit. And then when I got home, it was for the wrong type of bed. It wasn't going. It was part 6 of 6, but it wasn't the right type of bed. So I moaned, and then they were like, "Right, well, what we'll do is we'll just send you a whole new bed out, and you return all the odds and bits and sods and that." But they never ever came and collected it, and I never phoned them up and never chased them back for it. So I ended up all the odds and sods ended up in it. So I ended up with a whole extra bed, which was, I don't know, a good couple of £100 worth of, good few £100 worth of bed. 2 double beds I'd bought for the girls' rooms, and I ended up with a whole bed and then extra shite that I just chucked in the end because it was like, well, nobody's coming to collect it, nobody's booked it. So I'm taking it as compensation rather than stealing, but to fit the purpose of this question, it's stealing.
I accidentally stole. Again, doesn't look? I'm a big shite bag with stuff like that. Like to give you the extent to which I would be paranoid about choring something like. We were taking the puppy classes now, and the first one that we went, they said you have to take loads of treats. So our dog was mental for chicken. So cut up loads and loads of chicken into wee bits and put in a wee Tupperware tub. It was a bit of faff to get out because you open up the tab and they're like, "Oh, here, we'll get you a cheat bag." So they give me a wee cheat bag, tipped it in there, and I walked out with the cheat bag. I go back to the car. I was just getting in. I was like, "Oh fuck!" So I ran back. I could have kept it till the next week, and I ran back. Got your cheat bag, but can the scan in your shop, right? I had to pay for a big fucking multi-pack of Coke one time. It's not very expensive. It's not very fucking glamorous, but it was after. In fact, it was before the scan in your shop. It was the self-scan one. When you went out, it was like, oh fuck, I've no. I could have went back in and paid for it. So I realised when I got home, I could have went back and I thought, fuck, I'm here now. But
by the way, see that self scan? They're fucking checking more than they used to. Like,
I got pulled once for something that I hadn't scanned, and I picked up 2 tins of beans, and fucking hell, this is out of time. One was reduced salt, and I picked it up by accident. They were in the same bit, and I just scanned 2 tins of beans, thinking they were the same. And when they did the random check, they went fucking ping. Oh, that's you've no scanned that. That to fucking scan everything. And I was saying that I was like, it's 2 tins of beans, the same price. Like I've just obviously, well, like that's fine. Everything else was all fine, but that's the only time I've ever had an issue.
They're doing it much more. I used to use self-serve all the time because I hate queuing and all that. We'll get to the bit, I suppose, when we talk about the hate stuff, but I hate queuing. So I go to self-serve for that reason. And then, like, it was almost like, I was about 4 or 5 times in a row. I was saying to the lassies, what the fuck's going on here? Like, I'm fucking standing here waving to get somebody to come over. I would have been just standing in the queue and getting...
Aye.
Surely it's maybe quicker. You're scanning every fucking person that comes through here, or certainly me. We've got cameras on for my previous self-scan stuff before.
I think the most I've had 3 in a row. 3 times in a
4 or
row.
5.
I've never had more than 3 of them, I think.
Even only had a couple of things once, like that. I've got 2 things again.
Aye, for that. John?
I forgot what the question was. Oh, what was the most expensive thing that I've stolen? I can't think. I used to be a bit a tea leaf when I was younger. I was always nicking stuff, always picking stuff up and just sticking it in my pockets. But I think it was something I grew out of. I can't think of anything that I've nicked.
Did you used to get a thrill out of it? Like, was that why you done it?
I think it's because we were poor, and I was looking for attention for the parents that didn't love me.
Just remember the thrill bit. I think how we answer that, John.
If only the self-serve tools were in place at that point, you would have got caught easy.
Did you see the boy that was in the news this week? He started receiving mysterious amounts in his bank account, and he got in touch with Barclays, his bank, and he said, "Listen, what's this money?" And they said, "No, like it's yours, keep it." So he kept it and he bought a house with it, and now they're asking for the money back.
Oh no, didn't they? Ah, fucking hell.
See, I think that if he's asked about it and they've told him it's fine, that's fucking all bets are off. But at that point, I would be going, well.
If you go in writing.
Well, even recorded call now, it's as good as writing. Aye.
Yeah.
So fuck them. That's what I would be saying.
No.
There was one of the, is it Fesshole? One of the accounts tweets that they put, it was somebody had defaulted. Oh, what was it? They'd rented a flat, and the landlords had defaulted on the mortgage, and the house was meant to be repossessed, and it never got repossessed. So they pretty much lived rent free for 20 years or something like that. Just never bothered them. Quality. Right, that was that's us out of time for this episode. We'll be back with another one shortly. Till then, we'll see you later.
Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't drink water, no,